Alright, so the plane that Peter chose to recreate for this Flitetest monster creation is absolutely brilliant. And also, the person behind the original design is equally as brilliant and also pretty darn crazy. Giovanni Caproni designed the Nova plane back in the early 1920s, 1915s, around that area. This is back before people really knew what refined flight was, and Giovanni Caproni was really an innovator of his time. He had a lot of successful designs. He had some early bombers that were very successful, but he wanted to create a way that people could travel across the ocean safely and reliably, but also have an incredible experience. Basically, what he designed was nothing more than a beautiful panoramic yacht that flew above the ground. And to make it possible for people to travel across the ocean safely and securely, he just basically took a ton of wings and a ton of motors and put it on a flying boat. Now, this plane only had about 300 to 400 nautical miles of range, so the idea was that it could fly a little bit, it could land in the ocean, it could be refueled, and then from that point take off again and make another jump, and then so forth and so on. His idea had a lot of logic behind it, but it didn't have a lot of practicality. And the reason is because, when you put multiple wings on an airplane, as we have learned in the past with our flying battleship, there's some pretty weird side effects that you got to deal with. Now, Peter took this challenge on in a huge way, and he obviously built an aircraft that was much stronger than the huge monster that Giovanni Caproni did. But Peter still has to deal with the challenges that Giovanni Caproni had, and that is the pitch sensitivity and some of the stability issues. One really cool thing about foam board, though, is you can oftentimes create and modify and change things very quickly. And the materials that both Peter and Flitetest uses to make all these crazy contraptions is the Flitetest Maker Foam or Adams Ready Board. Both these foams are made by our good friends at Adams Plastics and are amazing for model aviation. And if you want to be able to build a plane that's easy to paint and also water resistant, check out our Maker Foam available on our store. At the end of the day, Giovanni Caproni had some pretty awesome successes and some pretty epic failures with the Caproni Novoplano. This design, while it was innovative, was definitely not one that you'd want to repeat or put a lot of people in. But for its time in the 1920s, it was truly a masterpiece of engineering, and it was just a great example of how people can take on flight in so many different ways. Now, at the end of the day, this aircraft did have some success in flight, but the multiple wings, multiple engine, the crazy pitch issues would ultimately lead to its crash and destruction.